The arena is electric, the air thick with anticipation. Every eye is locked on the center of the cage, where two men stand, their expressions unshaken, their bodies coiled like predators, ready to strike. On one side, Khabib Nurmagomedov, undefeated, untouchable, the embodiment of dominance. A man who left the sport on his own terms, his legacy cemented in gold. Across from him, Sharaputdin Magomedov, a rising storm, an unorthodox and dangerous striker whose mere presence sends chills through his opponents. Their styles couldn't be more different, yet they share the same fire, the same warrior spirit carved from the unforgiving landscapes of Dagestan. No one ever thought they would stand across from each other, yet here they are, two forces of nature about to collide. Khabib built his empire through relentless pressure, suffocating his opponents with an unstoppable ground game. He wasn't just winning fights, he was breaking spirits, dismantling world-class athletes as if they were mere obstacles in his path. His undefeated record wasn't just a statistic, it was proof of his complete mastery over the sport. Fighters knew what was coming, yet they could do nothing to stop it. His retirement left a void in MMA, a lingering question of what could have been had he continued his reign. But while Khabib walked away, the sport kept evolving and new threats began to emerge. Sharaputdin Magomedov represents that evolution. Unlike the wrestlers Dagestan is known for, he is a striking machine, fluid, unpredictable, and vicious. His spinning attacks come out of nowhere, his precision is surgical, and his ability to shut the lights out in an instant makes him one of the most feared strikers to emerge in recent years. While many fighters dream of avoiding the ground, Sharaputdin steps into the fire, daring opponents to stand and trade with him. Some say his defensive grappling is underrated, while others question whether he can withstand the relentless pressure of a world-class wrestler. But what no one questions is his ability to end a fight with a single strike. The whispers began as nothing more than a fantasy matchup. Could Sharaputdin's striking dismantle Khabib's relentless pressure? Would Khabib be able to neutralize a fighter who doesn't just defend takedowns but punishes those who attempt them? It was a dream scenario, the ultimate clash of styles that fans live for. But then the whispers turned into something more. Training footage surfaced, rumors spread, and suddenly, people weren't just asking what if, they were asking when. For Khabib, the decision to step back into the cage would mean more than just another fight. He walked away with an unblemished record, promising his family that his time in battle was over. To return would be to risk everything he built, to face an opponent unlike any he had encountered before. Yet, there was something different about this challenge, something personal. Sharaputdin wasn't just another fighter. He was a rising force threatening to take the throne Khabib left behind. The comparisons were inevitable, but Sharaputdin wasn't looking to follow in anyone's footsteps. He wanted to carve his own path, and if that meant going through a legend, so be it. In the mountains of Dagestan, respect is everything, but so is competition. The old guard watches as the new generation rises, waiting to see who is truly worthy. Khabib was the king, but in a sport that never stops moving, kings are constantly challenged. Was he truly untouchable, or was there someone out there capable of cracking the code? The tension was no longer just speculation, it had become something tangible, something that could no longer be ignored. Two warriors, two legacies. One question: if Khabib ever stepped back into the cage, would Sharaputdin Magomedov be the man to shake his unshakable foundation? The answer lies just beyond the moment we're about to witness. The fight world holds its breath, waiting for the first move, the first exchange, the first test of wills. And when that moment comes, everything we thought we knew about dominance and legacy may change forever. The world of mixed martial arts has always thrived on the stories of warriors, men who rise from obscurity, carve their legacies through blood and sweat, and etch their names into history. Khabib Nurmagomedov did just that. From the rugged mountains of Dagestan, he fought his way to the top, refusing to bow to adversity, refusing to lose. His father, Abdulmanap Nurmagomedov, was his guiding force, shaping him into a relentless force of nature, a champion who carried his people's pride on his shoulders. Khabib wasn't just a fighter. He was a symbol of discipline, honor, and the unbreakable will of a man who never let the sport break him. But time moves forward, and even the greatest warriors must watch as new challengers emerge, waiting to test the boundaries of greatness. Sharaputdin Magomedov's path was different, yet just as unforgiving. His rise wasn't built on suffocating grappling or years of disciplined wrestling. Instead, it was violence of a different kind, precision striking, unorthodox movement, and a natural ability to read his opponents like an open book. While Khabib drowned his rivals in pressure, Sharaputdin dissected them with pinpoint accuracy, setting traps that only he could see. A product of the evolving landscape of MMA, he wasn't the traditional Dagestani fighter, but that didn't make him any less dangerous. If anything, it made him a problem unlike any Khabib had faced before. The whispers of this inevitable showdown didn't come from nowhere. There was something deeper beneath the surface, a tension that wasn't just about skill or legacy, it was about pride. Khabib represented the old ways, the time-tested Dagestani blueprint of dominance. Sharaputdin was the new breed, the unexpected variable, the unknown. For years, the grapplers of Dagestan had ruled, but what if the next era belonged to the strikers? What if Sharaputdin was proof that the game had evolved beyond Khabib's invincible style? These were questions that neither man could ignore, and the more they were asked, the closer they came to a confrontation that could shake the foundations of MMA. Behind closed doors, those who knew them best saw the shift happening long before the rest of the world did. The training sessions, the comparisons, the quiet rivalry growing between two men who never exchanged words but understood each other perfectly. Fighters spoke in hushed tones about what might happen if Khabib's relentless wrestling met Sharaputdin's ruthless striking. Coaches analyzed footage, searching for weaknesses, knowing that if this clash ever materialized, it wouldn't just be a fight, it would be a battle of ideologies. And then there were the unspoken questions that no one dared to ask. Would Khabib's body still hold up after years away from the cage? The undefeated champion, known for pushing himself to the absolute limit, had retired for a reason. His father was gone, his mission complete. But could he sit by and watch someone else take over a throne he never truly surrendered? On the other side, could Sharaputdin truly challenge a man like Khabib? Or was he just another name in a long list of hopefuls who thought they had the answer only to be crushed under the weight of Khabib's pressure? The tension grew, fueled by speculation, training camp whispers, and the undeniable pull of unfinished business. The fight world was left hanging in the balance, waiting, watching, anticipating the moment when talk would no longer be enough. Because in this game, there are no guarantees. No fight is won on paper. No legacy is secured without risk. And if Khabib vs. Sharaputdin were ever to become reality, one truth remained: when the cage door closed, only one man would walk out unchallenged. The storm had been brewing for months, a slow but inevitable pull towards something that neither man could ignore. The whispers turned into questions, and the questions turned into expectations. Could Khabib truly stay away when the sport was moving forward without him? Could Sharaputdin prove that the next generation had already arrived? The fight world was waiting, but no one expected what happened next. Out of nowhere, footage surfaced grainy, shaky, but unmistakable. A closed-door sparring session deep in the mountains of Dagestan, where champions are made in silence. The clip was brief, barely a minute long, but it was enough to send shockwaves through the MMA community. Khabib and Sharaputdin were in the same room, inside the same cage, and they weren't just training. They were testing each other. The sound of gloves cracking against skin, the sharp exhale of every strike, the struggle between two forces, trying to impose their will, it was all there. And just before the video cut off, one moment stood out. Sharaputdin stuffing a takedown, breaking free, and landing a strike that forced Khabib to reset. It wasn't a full fight, but it was enough to raise a question no one had ever dared to ask. Was there a weakness in Khabib's game? Speculation exploded overnight. Some called it a fluke. Others claimed it was proof that the sport had evolved beyond Khabib's relentless wrestling. But behind the scenes, something even more interesting was happening. Fighters from Dagestan were choosing sides. Some remained loyal to Khabib, believing that no one, not even Sharaputdin, could shake the foundation he had built. Others saw the sparring footage as a sign of the inevitable, a passing of the torch that Khabib himself might not be ready to accept. The tension spilled over when a cryptic message appeared on social media. Sharaputdin, a man known for letting his fists speak louder than his words, posted just 3 words: anytime, anywhere. The message was clear, and the world was listening. The pressure on Khabib to respond was mounting, but true to his nature, he remained silent. No call-outs, no interviews, nothing but the sound of a champion watching as the world questioned everything he had built. But then, the unexpected happened. Footage leaked again, this time from Khabib's own camp. It wasn't just a response, it was a statement. The clip showed Khabib training harder than he had in years, pushing his body past limits that retirement was supposed to protect him from. The message was clear, even without words. Khabib was sharpening his weapons again. The whispers turned into a roar. Was he coming back? Was this fight more than just a fantasy? The stakes had never been higher. A battle between 2 men who embodied the past and future of the sport. A fight that could redefine everything people thought they knew about dominance. But as the tension reached its peak, one question loomed over everything. Would Khabib step into the cage one more time, knowing that this time, the outcome was anything but certain?